Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Meraj Kidwai, and you're watching Vertex, the solution of every need. How's everyone, and how is everyone doing today? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to discuss about design thinking method in education for problem solving. I'm sure you must have heard about design thinking earlier as well, but how we are and we can use in our classrooms and in our teaching and being more productive with our learners, both the children, of course, the working professional. Design thinking is very much indeed used in the realm of business because there were latest studies by Harvard and Stanford Business School. But of course, this method was coined way too back early in 60s and 70s. So sometime other I will definitely dig in deep in the history of design thinking. But here, this method, how we can implement and use strategically in education, and what is it for people who actually do not have any idea about what design thinking implies. Yeah, so that's all I'm going to discuss in this video. So let's begin. So what is design thinking, ladies and gentlemen? Design thinking is a method. It's a method of problem solving. So we do have a goal to achieve, we have an outcome or a target to achieve, but we do hit a roadblocks or challenges in between in terms of problems. So with this method of design thinking, we can solve and bring solutions to the table. So we have different strategic approaches, cognitive developments and practical exposures that we can use in this method to bring solutions to the table. Of course, this approach, this method is human-centered, that can bring the values for the human development and attaining the targets, the goals and achievements that we desire with this method for innovation and creativity, ladies and gentlemen. To achieve a solution through design thinking methodology, we undergo various stages. So let's understand in detail each of the stages of design thinking to problem solving and how we can get a learner outcome in education. When we create a lesson plan, and definitely post development of that lesson plan, we require and set a target for a learner's outcome. So in a classroom, whatever subject we are teaching, whatever concept we are teaching, there is inevitable status that there would not be any problem in the adaptability or flexibility of that lesson plan, that a learner can adapt and inculcate in their knowledge. So definitely there are different types of problem a teacher faces in a classroom, and we can understand that how we can solve those problems with design thinking method. The number one stage for this method for design thinking problem solving is empathy. Now, what is empathy? I have uploaded a detailed video on empathy, behavior modifications with empathy, and I keep on speaking on my channel about psychology and psychological methods, improving learner outcome and psychology of a learner. So empathy is when you are having an ability or a skill in you to understand and feel how the other person or the other individual is feeling, or in a way you are putting yourself in some other person's shoes, or having a cognitive empathy in you to understand the need of the learner in education, because design thinking is used in various forms in various fields, but here I'm particularly talking about in education. So you can empathize with your learners of hitting a roadblock or a problem during your class, during the lesson you are teaching to a learner, understanding what is the need of the learner. There is no clarity, there's a language barrier, cognitive development is required, they are unable to understand the process the same way. So just try to understand the problem of the learner by having a interview, by having a conversation with the learner. Of course, empathizing with your learner and keeping a human-centric approach helps you to develop a problem-solving ability in the learner as well, bringing the outcome for betterment of the learner. When you spoke to the learners about the problem, about the difficulty they're facing in understanding a particular concept or particular subject that you are willing to teach to the learner, you have collected information from the interviews, from the interactions with the learners, then you should be able to define what exactly the problem. You should be able to understand what exactly the problem with a human-centered approach. So you are putting up yourself in the shoes of your learners and viewing the problem from their perspective, viewing and trying to understand with humility, empathy, that how it is difficult for your learner to understand this concept or this technique or a particular strategy. You may try to define exactly what is their need in a learning and getting a learning outcome that you require or you desire to achieve your goal. So define the problem in the second stage. When you have defined the problem, you come in the third stage of design thinking, is that you have understood the problem, you've understood the requirement, that what actually the requirement of your learner in a classroom, and how better you can modify the techniques or the strategies so that you can achieve your goal of the learning outcome. So you start generating the idea that how you can well develop a strategy, a technique, or a lesson plan according to the need of your learner. So of course you will brainstorm and think out of the box. You are putting yourself in the shoes of the learner, and then you are having a perspective about the problem. And when you have a perspective about the problem, you'll generate more ideas. You start brainstorming and thinking out of the box that, okay, this can be the solution. This is the way we can process further. You can have a group discussions and having a more empathetic and emotional or a sensitive connect with the learner in the classroom, and thinking out of the box, going beyond the responsibilities of your profession and generating ideas for the problem to get a desired outcome and a solution. Now you have empathized, collected the information, then you have defined the problem, what is the problem, you have generated the ideas. Now in the fourth stage, you have to prototype. That is, whatever data you have collected now, based on that, you are going to identify solutions for it. You will be in the process of identifying a particular refined solution for the problem, and you will be putting experiments in the same and investigations and trying to implement that in the process for a learning outcome. So prototype is a stage where you will be experimenting, you will be identifying solutions, you will be investigating, and will be in the process of implementation. So now you have the solution for the problem, and in the fifth stage of the design thinking, you will be testing it. So there will be a method of role playing. You can switch the role, can be at the place of your learner and understanding the solution and the problem in a way that you are putting yourself at that place. So this method you can use. In this stage, you will be finding more refinement in the solution, and of course when you're going to implement the solution that you brought to the problem, you're going to implement in this stage, and of course you will be getting a feedback regarding the same. So these are the stages of design thinking, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what I shared here, please give a thumbs up. You can connect with me through the website, that is www.vertexasolution.com. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.